Welcome everybody to Upgrade, and I am so happy to have this amazing, beautiful woman with us today. She is an spiritual healer, an energetic healer, she's an accountant, and now she's actually merged all those worlds, and she's able to help people create new mindsets around their money blocks and their old money stories. And the reason that the work that she's doing is so freaking amazing is because once you are able to get rid of that scarcity and release that tension and those blocks from your body that aren't even yours, that come through your family line and through generations and society, then it's a game changer. Like literally your life can shift, and without that energy just blocking you, you've got space for so much more to be created. And that's why I am so happy to welcome Abbey B on today. So welcome, Abby. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm just stoked. I'm stoked.
Yeah, we've already had like a great chat. We've been talking. We're like, we've got to start recording. The stuff we're talking about is so juicy. So like, let's start off even just with that story that you were just telling me about that client of yours. Like, if you don't mind, would that be okay for you to share?
Yeah. Yeah. So the whole money management, it really goes beyond just the tools, right? So it goes beyond just managing your finances, setting up, getting your taxes done, looking after the books, because I had a client come to me and we went through 2 years worth of stuff for her because she had kind of just dropped the ball, and she had separated from her partner and was in a DV situation, domestic violence. So when we're actually going through the finances together, a lot of that trauma around that relationship was sort of coming up. And as we were working through that, we were kind of clearing all of that trauma out of her, because in that kind of situation, there can be like financial abuse, where you're supporting that person or they're not letting you manage your own finances, and it can be really like manipulative. So, there's so many layers, like, and it's all connected. And I think people just sometimes don't understand how deep and how connected it can go. So like something so simple as clearing your like lodgement and obligation history, it can really move all that past energy out and cut those ties and just release all of that, so you can focus on what you want to call in and what you want to bring in and what you want to manifest, and abundance and prosperity and all of that good juicy stuff.
The best stuff ever. Richness in all of the worlds, in all energy fields, in your body, in your business, in your books, in your mind, but it actually comes to the forefront and becomes reality, right?
Yeah. And it's like richness beyond financial. It's like being rich. You know how like chocolate can be really rich. So it's like having that richness feeling with life, of just that taste, that zest for life, having that inside of you when you cleared all that out. So it's really beautiful. It's beautiful to watch. Like, it still blows me away.
Yeah. No, it is the best. Like when you can like help somebody clear that out and create a new mindset for themselves, it is like they're living a new life, and like they found this whole new lease of life, and there is just so much joy and pleasure in each day and in the simplest of tasks, because you didn't realize how much that block or energy or whatever of past trauma was actually preventing you from living full expression of yourself, from living an expansive life, from the exponential growth that we're all capable of, all the manifesting abilities and the abundance and all of that. And like you said, that juicy richness in life, like it's just everything amazing. And when you have those blocks there, especially around financials, it can be crippling. And is that what you find a lot of people come to you with, like issues to do with their money, and or their wealth or their business or things like that. And there's actually so much more, like it's quite multi-layered within them that they haven't even thought of, and they didn't realize how connected everything was.
Yeah, so it's coming, like I'm seeing a few things that are quite prevalent at the moment, and that's fear. So there's fear around knowing and seeing. There's fear around the shame of not managing it, so not wanting to go to an accountant or wanting to get it sorted because they feel shame around how they've been in the past. So that's where I'll really try, like I'm about empowering people around their finances. And I'll never shame anybody, but that shame is passed down from our parents. So that's how we work through that. So there's fear, there's shame, there's guilt. But yeah, it's that empowerment piece, it's really shifting it from those negative emotions into a positive one, because I'm noticing when people go, oh, this is actually really easy. Like I didn't expect it to be so simple. And that's because, like, when you go to a traditional accountant, they'll throw out all the jargon to you and like make it sound so complicated and make it sound hard. Like I even had someone say to me, oh, my accountant said not to set up a company because it would just be too complicated. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, there's so many different options for you, and this is like someone who's making a lot of money, so would benefit from a corporate structure. So it's like that, they're putting complex language into people to make it sound harder than what it really is, so they don't do it. So they're scared because it's really intimidating. So, I really want to break that down and like push through that, because it's not hard. Yeah. It's not hard. We just need to have that visibility and like be nurtured and cared for in that. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. And especially with that, like it's so empowering just to know where your business is, or even if you don't have a company, or if you do have a proprietary limited, or you've got a foundation or anything, just knowing what's coming in, what's going out, just the basics around that structure just is so freeing to people, because awareness is the first key to freedom. Like you've got to know
Yeah.
there. And I find the same, like a lot of people that will come to me and they're like, oh, my business. I'm like, well, so like, show me a profit and loss statement, show me what's coming in, what's going out. And people are just like, what? And like, just having that awareness and getting that information. And like you said, people are so scared of that, but it's actually so empowering to know what's going on, because you don't know what, like you don't just go to the paint store and pick up a bucket of paint. You've got to know what color it is that you like, and then you can create something out of it. It's the same with your business. You've got to see where it's at, right, before you can create plans to move forward, because or else you're just going in blind all the time. Do you feel like a lot of people come to you and they just don't have any awareness around their business?
Yeah, no clue. Or they think they know, but there's so much that's left out that they don't see, because the systems that they're using are outdated, or, they're just, it's like do now, think later. But if you're actually ahead of the game and like you're onto it, and like, come on, it's nearly 2020 and technology is at a way now where it basically does everything for you. So all you got to do is click a button to pull the report. And then when you got those reports, you're making like management strategic decisions based on those reports that are 100% accurate. I mean, there's always room for error, but what you're seeing in front of you is enough to know to make the decisions you need to make. And like also too, people run businesses very differently. So what works for one business doesn't necessarily work for the next business. And this is where I feel like you can have like blanket advice, and this is what accountants do, right? It's blanket advice that they just push out to everybody because they don't care about the business. They're not invested in the business. And they just push out all this blanket advice where it just doesn't work, because they don't understand the business like at a soul level or at a core level. And this is where like I really like to know people so well and like what they stand for, what they're passionate about, what their end game is, where they see themselves in 10 years, what they want to achieve, because all of those things come into play in the decisions that they're making today. So yeah, I feel like I forget what the question is. I was just on a
Oh, no, there's
rant
no
then.
question, but I totally agree, because this is something that like you've mentioned before, you actually are invested into your clients' businesses. And not financially, but like I said, you're invested in a soul level,
Right.
and that is a rarity with you. I think that's what sets you aside from a lot of other accountants, is you actually you're heartfelt, you're in it with them. Whereas what you're saying is a lot of accountants or a lot of other people that look at people's businesses are just not even looking at that person's business before they've actually given them information on it. And it's like, yeah, every business model is different. Like I've been in franchises. I've had franchises for businesses, and every single franchisee, their business is completely different. Like depending on the weather, depending on where they are, depending on the feelings, depending on how the staff they've got. Like everything is so individual, even though like there is like a basic structure that can sort of be run by, but you can't give any advice really until you actually look in and look like at everything before you start giving advice. It's like being a doctor, right? Like you can go in and go, oh my gosh, I've got this thing here. It's like, oh, just put this cream on it. It's like, yeah, but if you look at the whole body and what you're actually eating, it's got maybe nothing to do with the external. It's all coming from internal. It's exactly the same with the business. It's all interwoven. You've got to have the whole story, so that and it's a real holistic approach to business, which I think a lot of people aren't really doing. And that's what I think sets you aside with what you're doing, because not only are you holistically looking at the whole business, but you're actually invested soulfully in it, and you're looking at the person and where their blockages are. And they don't really, and I think most people don't realize how interwoven they are. And once, like, you can have a business that's not successful, or that even you could possibly have a business that's not successful, and then you're like just looking at the business all the time, and then there's this one little thing within that person, and no accountant sees that. But that's where you say, like, you're quite different. You'll look at the person and go, oh, we just need to shift this out, and then boom, the business can really go, right?
I was even talking about that the other day. Like, how you do life is how you do business.
Yep.
So I look at people. What's your home like? How do you time manage? Are you late for things? Are you disorganized? Do you struggle to communicate your boundaries? All these different things, like, they play out in your business exactly the same way as they play out in your life. So, if you struggle to ask for things, or if you struggle, you're a people pleaser and you're constantly like giving and never receiving, like, that's what you're doing in your business as well. And that's where I look at pricing structures as well. Like, people have a lot of blocks around their pricing.
Yes, I find that as well. People are always undercharging. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm the same. I'm always like, can't believe it when people just have not putting any value on what they're doing.
Well, that's an energy leak.
Yeah.
It's an energy leak, right? Even like, I've gone through the lessons myself, and that's how I know it's an energy leak. So if you do a whole heap of work for someone, and then like you don't take a deposit, and then you don't like chase them up for the remainder, and you do all the work and you give it your heart and soul, and it's like 2 months later, and then you're thinking about debt collectors, like, that energy leak in your business is bad.
Yeah.
So you got to have the confidence within yourself straight up to go, no, this is how I do, this is how much I price, this is how it goes. And like, you are like fully like engaged in that, and in your power and in your confidence, and like loving yourself through that process, that people won't take advantage of you. And then that's good business.
Absolutely.
So like, huge. It's like, people don't realize how much is actually entwined, but it's so entwined.
Totally. I literally was speaking to a client this week as well, and they were, they've got their business that they do for money, and then they've got their love, like their passion business. And charging for their passion business, because it's like, oh, it's a gift, from source, spirit, creator, whatever. So I can't charge for that. I'm like, yes, source, spirit, God gave you that gift. That's your mission. Like, you need to be charging for that, and like rearrange the whole structure. It's like, this is what should be supporting your life, not this like thing. You're not supposed to be miserable in business and then do your gift like part-time. Like, you got a gift. Like, Jesus didn't work at Bunnings, you know, like
Jesus didn't work at Bunnings.
but it's the same sort of stuff, right? Like, you go out and
but this is what it's like with the spiritual community, with like psychics and healers and coaches, and like it's this martyrdom piece, right? They feel like a martyrdom, like they're doing so much good for the world that they can't possibly make money off that. It's because their mindset around money is like, money's the root of all evil, or they're intimidated by it, or it doesn't bring any good. But it's like, you look at some of the billionaires around the world, like, let's just like Bono, or like those people that are really making a difference. Like, it's, what did I see? I saw something. It's when you put a tea bag into hot water, what's inside comes out. So it's the same concept, right? When somebody comes into wealth and makes a lot of money, like, what they put out into the world is a reflection of what's inside. And that's where I really want to either target high earning people who haven't got that inner alignment to align, and bring back the goodness, or for the people that are already good, to show them how to make more money so they can make bigger impact. So like, there's both ends of the spectrum here. So it's like, the more we can do, just the better everyone's going to be.
Absolutely. That's it. Like, we live in the world. We all need to be like, making some kind of little effort, even if it's just the tiniest thing. Any effort is a good effort. Absolutely. And I totally agree. It's about, the waking up of those that have the wealth to be able to align and do the good work, or for the people that are doing like the good, humanitarian or environmentalist works, to be funded for that and be nurtured with gifts and be creating an income off that, so that they can do more work for their cause, their soul mission, for life, for humanity, for all of the things, right? Like, oh, I couldn't agree more.
I was part of an event up here on the Gold Coast a few months ago called Together We Rise, and that was through. Do you know that one?
I was there too. I came up to the Gold Coast with that.
Oh, we're in the same room. Yeah. And they raised 20 grand to build the library in Africa. Like, when we come together and we work together and we invest together, good shit's gonna happen.
Yes.
Like, good's gonna happen.
Exactly. That's it. Exactly. Yes, totally. So, and Abby and I don't live in the same state. It's about a 2-hour flight away from where we live. So it's quite far. I didn't know anybody. I just saw, like, I literally woke up one morning and I was like, I've been at an event the night before and it didn't fill my soul enough that weekend, like, not fill my soul, but I didn't go. I went because I really want a deep-hearted connection. And then I saw this event the next day and I was like, fuck, I got to go there. So I literally just had a shower, went to the airport and came up. And it was absolutely amazing. That's just me. Yeah. It was absolutely amazing. And yes, we got to like, have you seen the pictures from that? Like, they're building the library over there in Africa.
Yeah, done.
It's so epic. And that's the thing, like, people get together and they're on this soul mission, then real things happen. Like, I was speaking to one of the other franchisees that I have a business, that has a business similar to my business, and she's doing things for community in Australia, like building libraries, helping them with their homes, and trying to get like a $3.2 million grant to be able to really change Indigenous communities. And it's just like all these women and these amazing like people waking up and making a difference. It's like, and this is what I was going to touch on before we got on camera, was like, this is how I see the world going. What do you think, Abby? Like, I personally see that, like we were talking about the governments and everything like that, they're getting all this money, and you were saying they're trying to increase taxes and all that sort of stuff. And the way I see it is people are becoming so much more awake. We've got so much more awareness around like the world. Thank God for the internet and all of that, so that these people that are like all of us people that are coming up and making such a difference, like we're the ones that are supporting communities, we're the ones that are helping make massive changes in the environment and humanity. So what is our need for the government anymore? We're making the government become redundant, you know, so people will be like, and we were talking about foundations and stuff like that.
Yeah, I really hope I get to see the day where our economy becomes self-sufficient.
Yeah, I think it will
Yeah.
in our lifetime.
I
I think
mean, like it's going to be a big thing, because you think, you know, yeah, the tax side of things, it's so complex and complicated. It doesn't need to be like that. But then you look at our health system. Our health system's quite good compared to like America.
if it's
But you know, I had a guy. So I'm meeting with a guy this week, and I'm helping him develop his business plan to go to the government to get a grant to build like a country, like 300 acre for Indigenous and the youth system out of the detention centers to come, because connecting back to the land and connecting back to themselves is what promotes more awakening in the community. So it's
that's
big things are happening.
Man, that's legit what we do. So like that's what I like personally do. That's what our retreats do. We go and take people back to the land, to energetic centers around the world, and activate their DNA so that they can be full in alignment with their soul mission and put out these missions. Because I'm like the worst clairvoyant in the world. I get every like message 10 years in advance. It's super annoying, because then I've just got to fucking wait 10 years. I cannot tell you how bloody annoying it is. It is ridiculous, right? So like, because I get all these visions of how these things are going to roll out, but then I don't have the finances to do all of those things because they're like $1 billion projects. But I'll end up meeting a person, I can link them up, or like then, you know, these things will just happen in the world. A lot of them are just premonitions. And this sort of stuff, absolutely. Like, let me put, like, I've got to put you in touch with this other person that helps fund those sort of things, because they're looking for projects that are environmental and change programs throughout the world.
I literally just got the information like an hour before we jumped on this call.
Everything is so aligned. It's so ninja.
It's so like, you just can't plan this stuff.
You really can't. It's ridiculous. Like we were even talking about beforehand, like I was like, do you know about like sovereignty and like foundations, and like we're just having all these connections, just like bam, bam, bam. We're supposed to have this like conversation. So that's something I'd love to chat on as well. Like, yes. So yes, absolutely. I think that's exactly, that's why I wanted to get your opinion as well. Because that's how I see it all changing. Like the governments aren't doing shit anymore. Like it's all private people, like philanthropic projects that are changing the world. And I honestly feel like these are the new governments that are coming forward. These people are stepping up, they're investing their time, they're investing their money, they're investing their lives in this stuff. And they will be seen as the change leaders, and they will create new governments around the world. Because what do the governments do? They take our taxes, but they take our taxes to give back to the occult, to give back to, I'm sorry, I'm so fucking like so left wing. Like, that's where our money goes to, you know, like, yes, they want to increase taxes because, as you said before, what was the percentage you said about entrepreneurs and businesses?
Oh yeah. So currently I had a look the other week, and it's like between 20 and 30% of Australian economy is made up of entrepreneurs. So it's growing, and I feel like it's growing rapidly because more people are leaving the system to start their own venture. And I see our communities becoming self-sufficient through these entrepreneurial people. You know, you've got the business fruit man, and you've got the business, you know, bread man, and you've got the, you know, and it's kind of like, if you think back, like, go right back to old times before there even was any, you know, government systems in place. And it's kind of similar, but just more modern, I think. So I don't know, like, it's really intriguing. And it's the more entrepreneurs that come into this space, like the more I just want to like just help them, because and the less tax they pay, the more it's going to go into the community to help make those changes, you
Absolutely.
know. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And that's the thing that's so good as well about everybody sharing, you know, like when we were talking about this, Abby was talking about like, you know, like I've got a bit of a community up where she lives. Well, yeah, a few people that I know, not a community, a few people that I know that are doing this sort of stuff. And like they need to come together. It's like getting all the people that like are into the same stuff, like so that all this knowledge can be shared and then more stuff rolls out a lot quicker and we can actually have greater impact in the world. So yes, with like non-for-profits, with foundations, with like not getting out of the system, just like letting them do their stuff here and we're just doing our stuff here. There's no like, because this is what I always remind people as well, there's no fight in this. Like we're peacefully doing our stuff here and anybody that wants to go to the system stays in the system. It's absolutely fine. We're not anti-establishment, we're just like doing our own thing and we just like, we can see what you guys are doing, like this is what we're doing as well, let's just like be neighbors on the other side rather than being like you know.
And that's how I like intuitively I feel like you can't fight fire with fire. So the only way to tear down the systems is to not fight the systems, but just build another system that's better. And then when people catch on to that new system and go, oh my God, that works. Look at these people. They're so happy and they're not, and they're this and they're that. They're going to be like, I want that. And then they come over and then all of a sudden it's just like that old system is so outdated that it just doesn't work. No one's in it.
Exactly. That's the only way, like that's the only way it can happen. And that's why it's so important just to remind everybody to not be angry about this. Because I know a lot of people, and I did as well when I first, you know, watched, what's that bloody conspiracy theory? Zeitgeist? Have you seen that?
Oh no, what's that? Is it on Netflix?
No, it's like so old. How old are you, lovely?
I'm 32.
I'm 38. Okay, so you're not that much younger than me, but I'm 38. So like a while ago, there was this thing, you got to watch it. Everybody's got to watch it. It's freaking crazy about like the whole system, about like September 11th. It was put out quite a while ago, but it's like just a conspiracy documentary. And it just tells about everything, like how all the different religions are linked and all this sort of stuff and all the different
brotherhoods, the Rothschilds, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds interesting.
It is. It's so interesting. But after you watch it, you're sort of like a little bit broken because you're like, the world's so fucked. What the fuck do we do? And you just get angry. You're like, I don't belong here. I'm not in my home. Like, fuck, you know? But then, and I know a lot of people have been quite broken after watching stuff like that. They're just like, there's no point in living. I don't want to have kids. I don't want to bring anybody else into this world. It's so super fucked up. But now we've got like awareness and a lot of us had messages and downloads, right? It's like, okay, well, there's another way. We just got to create it. We can't wait for it to happen. We're all just stepping in, sharing, doing our things, meeting the right people, doing the deep inner work. And it's all sort of coming together now. And yeah, it's so perfectly aligned. And
well, I think like even, I don't know about for yourself, but even in the last 3 months, the exponential growth and the downloads that I've not only just seen for myself, but for people like close to me and even beyond, like we're progressing like fast, energetically we are progressing. And it's like, even if you're not fully into the work, you're still like, there's still stuff going on, stuff coming up slowly. So it's just like, you can choose to just let it happen naturally over the next decade or two, or you can invest in people like who have gone through that, help you fast track it. So like you're not waiting 10 years. So like I know for myself, I went to retreats, I went to healers, I went to coaches, I worked with empowerment people because I was like, I've got to, you know, like get there. But now there's no there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There is no there. It's constantly going. But it's like when you invest in yourself with people that can help you fast, like the faster we go, the quicker we change and we adapt and we grow and we learn, the quicker the world around us is going to follow suit. So this is why I'm so fucking passionate about healers, psychics, coaches, all your all your modalities. Like if you've got a modality and you think like you're too scared to set up the business and just put yourself out there, like get out of your own way. Just do it, because everybody needs you to do that. And it's just like, don't be scared about being seen or being, like, just, yeah, like do it.
Absolutely, because success is literally motion. Like I say this all the time, success is just motion in action, right? Like once you get on the vibe, you just keep on doing it. And I was having like conversations, like one of my best friends, like we literally talk about this all the time. She's got so many fucking skills and she is just like an amazing in everything that she does, but she doesn't share it yet. She's like, oh, I just need to learn another thing. I'm like, babe, no, the time is fucking now. Like you have got to step into you, because the only thing that's holding you back is you and your old programs. And like, it's 2020, it's the end of a decade. Like the people that are going to be like us people, we've got like, everybody's got gifts, and if you're stepping into your role of what is stretching you, but you fucking know it's on your soul, it's now is the time to step up, right? Because there is everybody around us that is waking up to this stuff anyway. Like you can have a conversation with anybody. Like one of my businesses is in the city in Sydney, so we get like doctors, lawyers, judges, all of these sort of people coming in and chatting with us, people from the government. I can talk to anybody about fucking anything. Aliens, like spirituality, sovereignty, like whatever the fuck, like psychic things, everybody is on this shit. And if they're just not talking about it, they're just pretending, because they all know, you know what I mean? They just like don't want their friends or their family to think they're weird, but everybody like feeling it. Like even one of my clients, she's like in the government, like deep in the government, right? Like the opposite of what I am. Like she creates conspiracies. I mean, she hides the things that the government's doing that's super fucked up, right? Like that's her job, like, and creates these, like let's say there's something super fucked up coming on, like I can't think of the word, there's something super fucked up the government's doing, so she'll create like a distraction program, right?
Right.
So fucked up, she'll have a glass of wine and she'll tell me all the secrets, and it's just like, whoa, the stuff they're doing is so bad. But to the point, like my point is, she's like, I don't know what like she literally came into me one day, she's like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but whatever you and your friends are doing, like you spiritual people, it's making a difference, because I literally am going psychic now. I don't even want it. I didn't even want it, and I haven't spoken to anybody, but she's like, I can literally feel and think what other people are feeling and thinking. She's like don't stop what you're doing, you know? And I was just like, goosebumps everywhere. I'm like, we won't, don't worry. Like we love ceremony, we love doing work.
To hear those words is just like, it makes like all those like dark night of the soul, all those like times when you're in your deepest shit, like, because even when you feel like you're so onto it, like you still fall into those days where you have your shit. Fucking human.
Absolutely.
To hear that, like, it's, you wonder how much impact that we're actually making. So to hear that is just,
makes it all worthwhile, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. It so does. And for so long, it's like, I've always wondered, like, how do you change such a big thing? But it's clear now. It's like we all provide our magic. And this is why, like, I was rejecting my accounting side and my finance and my business side. For 2 years, I was just doing healings and readings because, I was spiritual and you can't. It's like two worlds. They don't belong together. And then now it's like, since I've embraced that, the universe has just gone, fucking need you. I'm going to be sending you everyone that needs you. And it's like this massive like influx. And each person I'm helping is like, their little magic is going out into the world to help. And then it's like from the healer right through to the guy that wants to turn all of the strip joints into central pleasure centers, to like, that's even a huge thing. No, we didn't.
Let's talk about that. It's fucking cool.
Yeah, so he is epic, and I've helped him just restructure everything, and it's just like this whole piece around how he wants to give back to the community and his vision and what he sees, and wants to buy this cafe that's going to be organic and vegan and all that, but then the food's going to be bought from this farmer and then this baker, and it's all like intermingled. And he mentioned like buying the strip clubs and turning them into self-pleasure temples, or tantra temples, which I don't know if anyone watching this is into it, but it's not what you think. And there is like I'm coming into it even myself, and breaking all the programming around the sexual beliefs, and it's like, imagine what our community would be like if we didn't have strip clubs and everyone was awake and aware and conscious relating, and it was just like this beautiful spiritual experience, like go to church on Sunday at the self-pleasure temples, like.
Because that's what it is. Like people, especially religious people, like, oh no, like, oh, this, like, it's classed as witchcraft, right? And so they can't even, because I had one of my employees, she was like, oh, Blythe, I can't talk about that because it's actually like classed as witchcraft in my religion. I was like, whoa, so interesting, right? Like, wow,
Yeah.
babe, so sorry. But can you like relate to the earth or anything like that? She's like, yeah, I totally get it. So it's all just wordsmith, like people have been shut down or not educated in certain things or being told that something's bad, but it's just these like spells are being actually created by the people that are educating them. And it's like, whoa, you're actually being like you're under witchcraft right now, and it's actually like you can't find out about this other stuff that is your birthright to be able to connect to the earth and be able to bring in anything through, right? I went on a tangent. Let's go back to the strip clubs. But sexual energy, and everything is sexual energy. It's like that feeling when you feel so beautiful and in love and all that stuff, whether it be with God, Buddha, Allah, yourself, the earth, witches, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's all that same energy. Yeah, it's life force energy, exactly. And that's what I think people like are coming online to, and that's what Tantra is, to like my understanding of Tantra anyway. It's all this beautiful energy. And the one thing that I learned about doing like with my Tantra course the other week was that it was, if people learnt what real Tantra was, there wouldn't be as much divorce. There would be people in relationships that would be so much more fulfilled. There would be so much more love on this earth. It would be exponential. Like that in itself, if everybody did Tantra, like good Tantra, not the dirty ones where it's just about having sex with everybody, because there is like bad in every good. But like the real Tantra, like our world would be different. Like prime ministers, presidents would be like satisfied and fulfilled, and they would be like respectful of their women and like in service, of what their role really is. And I think that is such a pivotal, like massive movement and shift in our world. And to be able to change strip clubs to that, so people can be like learning real pleasure and learning the art of pleasure and the beauty and everything isn't a porn model of sex, which is like just the quick dopamine fix that isn't sustainable, that is keeping us unhappy and miserable. It's a fucking game changer. So I'm so happy with that.
Yeah, and like it really struck a chord for me as well, because like I'm heavily involved with Gold Coast Centre Against Sexual Violence, and it's a massive piece on my heart. So I feel like the effects of that would go through to the sexual trauma that's in the world. Like there'd be less of it, because hurt people. So you heal the hurt people, they're not going to hurt anymore, and they're not going to hurt others. So it's just all these exciting changes. Is just like, you think about, oh well, how's the accountant going to help? But I see it now. Like I see it like when I'm helping people in these businesses with these visions. It's like their vision's my vision, and it just lights me up, and I just want to do what I can to help it all happen. I want to make it happen.
Totally. Absolutely. I'm just being called to say this right now. Did you know that in the Philippines, like they've been doing this for a while? Have you heard of Vipassana?
Yes.
Yeah. So Vipassana is for people that don't know what Vipassana is, it's a 10-day silent retreat that's actually free in every single city around the world. It's non-modality, it's non-religious or anything like that. It was originally a Buddhist practice that this guy found that had been just not practiced for a long time. And so because it's had such profound effects on people, they actually use it in the prisons in the Philippines. They use it on pedophilia, like people that have had crimes for pedophilia, and they have an 89% success rate for the people, and that's just from fucking 10 days of meditation and being in silence, because people are just so out of alignment with their soul and what's really going on, and they've got this program of trauma that allows them to create more trauma. But once they go behind that, they remember who the fuck they are, and they're like, oh, this shit's fucked up. Okay, I don't need to do that anymore. I get it. Like, there is such simple things that, like, people could, like, you know, oh, I can't meditate because it's against my religion. It's like, whoa, it's because your religion is like, doesn't want you to be healed, like, it wants you to be miserable. Like, that's super fucked up. Like, let's.
Oh, I didn't even know that existed, but I guess, like, even this is how fucked up it is, and this is only coming to me now. So, like, my dad is dating a woman who works at a Catholic school, and in her employment contract, she can't have intimate relationship with anyone that isn't her husband. Now, she has like separated from her husband years ago and they're divorced, but because her employment contract says she can't be intimate with anyone outside of her marriage, she can't be in a relationship with my dad. And I'm like, how fucked up is the system when a job is dictating what someone can do in their personal life? Like that, like, and it's the Catholic Church, right? And I just, like, that shocked me. And I was like, well, why doesn't she just go and get it? But it's not as easy as that. You know, we think, oh, well, you know, we have all these solutions of what we would do. But when you're actually in the situation, I think there's always lots going on. So it's not as a simple fix like that, because those systems that are coming through, it's just like, it's mental. It's mental. I just can't fathom it.
I can't even, like, get my head around that. So what is she doing? Are they still dating?
Oh yeah, like I think like they're in love with each other, but they can't really do anything until, and I said, let what needs to die. If she needs to leave that job, like, leave the job. Like, it's, you know, there's something else out there, but, you know, there's always more to the story, and like, it's easy to say, but for a Catholic school to put those kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, restrictions on somebody based on, like, religion, I mean, like, it's so outdated. The system's so outdated.
From like 1902. What the fuck? It's like 2020 in 2 months, you know? Like, what the hell? I know some things I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, there's so many things where it's all just about people power, you know, like, people have put up with it for that long and just gone, okay, I really want this job, like, it's so important, and not actually looked at the fine print when they were signing something or something like that, going, oh yeah, like, that's ridiculous, but that'll never happen to me, I won't be in that situation. And then people get in that situation.
Well, right.
Look, I saw this shit, you know, like, this is full on. There's so many outdated models within our legislation, within rules, within systems, and all of those sort of things. And now everybody's becoming awake to that. And it's like, okay, we've got the ability to create change and do all that stuff. I'm the same, like with, like, we were talking about sovereignty before, and, you know, like, with a lot of the stuff, like with legislation and your license and all of that stuff, a lot of the legislation is, like, outdated, or it's actually it's against the Geneva Convention, and we've just put up with it because we think that we have to. And it's like, people are waking up and people are, like, finding out about legislation and looking into things and going, wow, they tricked us. Like, it's just so fascinating when you get into all this stuff and just being like, and it's like, okay, what can we do to actually make change, to create these new systems, or, like, what is it that we can do? I mean, with the license and stuff like that, it's about, like, I'm going to be going to court because we're, like, coming up against a legislation. We're not fighting, we're not, like, anything like that. We're just literally going to go in and say our piece and see if we can like how far we can take this with legislation before I go to jail. I'll do whatever I need to get out of jail, but like I'll go up there and, you know, just to see how far we can actually go and share that sort of stuff. But like for people, I think as well, like when they're coming up against things that are not okay, not in alignment with their values and their morals, to not accept it and to like say, look, you know, and I was speaking to another person today in a franchise as well, a franchise business, and it's like, I don't agree with this. It's like, okay, well, cool, go back and what's the word? Negotiate it, because this is a model, and don't accept things into your life that aren't aligned with you anymore. You know, do you agree? Do you come up with a like?
Yeah, that's how I'm operating at the moment. Like I've branded myself the spiritual accountant. I've been an accountant for over a decade, and because of the breakdown of my marriage, I had to file for bankruptcy. So because of that bankruptcy, I lost all my licenses. So that's part of the reason why I went down the whole like, I'm not doing any accounting, I'm just going to do healings and that. But now it's like I've got this whole new kind of lease on life where it's like I'm not in the system, but just because I'm not in the system, does that mean I can't do the work? Like the government says, or like the you know, organized membership bodies say that I can't. But like on a moral level, if I can help somebody in their business, what do you think I'm going to choose? Oh, sorry, don't have my tax agent license, I cannot help you. Like I'm here to find ways around that. So helping people, you know, I think there's going to be a bit of pushback. You know, there's going to be accountants or bookkeepers or whoever who could be like, you can't do that, that's against the law, blah, 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 blah. And I've had to do a lot of releasing, like energetically around that, you know, the patterns and the programs. Like if you're not a CEO or a CPA, like, you know, there's a lot in that. But does that make me any less credible? Does it? Like, does it really, like on a fundamental level, does it really make me less credible?
No, because
I don't know.
Exactly. What if somebody, right, okay, two accountants, you and another accountant that's never been bankrupt. What if somebody that's about to go through bankruptcy needs an accountant? Are they going to go, like, should they go to somebody that's never experienced bankruptcy and have no fucking idea about it? Or should they be going to somebody that knows and has felt it and knows exactly what it's like in their soul and be able to advise them? I know who I'd want to go with. I'd want to go with the person that's got more knowledge around that. And that's the person that's experienced it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, look at a lot of the millionaires, billionaires out there. How many times have they said that they've hit rock bottom? I know myself, I've had multi-million-dollar businesses, but then I've also been at the forefront of like nearly going bankrupt and liquidating and all those sort of things. You want to have that range of motion in their lives, because then they've experienced it all and they'll be able to guide you a whole lot better. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I'm hoping a lot of people will see it that way.
Yeah, like one of my best friends, like, they've been bankrupt. Well, they're like in bankruptcy at the moment as well. But he is one of the most conscious wealth activators. Like, he does public speaking and books and all that sort of stuff. And one of the most conscious wealth activators as well. And it's like, because he's experienced it, like another person that we were talking about before that lives up in the Gold Coast, and they've experienced that as well. That's why you can go, like, when that happens, you have so much more depth in your abilities to be able to help people, but then it also makes you go and see what else is out there. You look past the box that we live in and go, wow, there's this like, we were living here, but there's all of this. And so if somebody's coming in and they just want to experience this like trap, then they can stay in the trap, but there's so much more to being actually free. And I think that's what like most people want in their life, is to be safe, secure, happy and free. So
yeah. Well, I feel like even though I'm in bankruptcy, I'm the most free I've ever been. So there's this like stigma with being bankrupt as like shameful, but I don't have any of it. Like, if anything, like, it enhanced my life. Like it was really tough. Like, it was some of the darkest moments of my entire life.
When you were like it before you actually decided to go bankrupt?
Yeah, like making that decision, because when you know, my marriage fell apart, like I was left, and you know, I was the main income earner and I lost contracts, and it just was really like I couldn't sustain myself, and I was left with all of the debt. So yeah, I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
So, but in that, I've been able to rebuild, and I've rebuilt with such a like huge pivot, you know, outside that box, because I've experienced outside the box. There's more to life than what is in here. And
Mm.
I think, you know, that's what a lot of accountants like to do. They like to put you in a box, put you, oh, you're going to fit nicely in here.
Yeah.
But I think now, like, I've kind of got that broader and wider view. So I'm going to I'm going to push the boundaries, because I'm going to make sure that people aren't just settling for, you know, what's happening. I really want to push those boundaries. How that looks, I don't know, but I know it's like, it's in here.
Yeah.
So
And every single person's business is individual anyway. So it will be different within all of that. So it's up to
mm,
you and that person, but every situation will be completely different anyway. So,
mm,
and that's the thing that I love about you as well, Abby, is that you're always evolving and willing to learn and do the deep inner work. And whatever you find out that's out there, you will go and look into that and not going, oh, that's bad, I can't do that. It's like, look outside the fucking box, because there is so much more than this little thing. There's this whole world. You know, it's one little thing. And that's the thing as well with university and with lawyers and accountants, and like a lot of, like, this is really fucked up, but like a lot of it is designed by, it all goes back to the Catholic Church and all that sort of stuff, the government, like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it does not about being right or wrong, but let me know your thoughts on this as well. Accountants, we were talking about this before, collect taxes for the government. So I see it as if we are 500 years ago and we are the poor people, and you guys are the tax collectors going and collecting taxes for the kings and queens. Nothing's changed there. It's just got a new like way of thinking around it, right?
I've totally, like, this has not been something that's just dawned on me, but my whole accounting career, my underlying motto has always been, from day one, I'm here to make you pay as less tax as possible. So I'm actually working against the government. Like, I see the ATO, not the enemy, but I work for the business, not for the ATO, where a lot of accountants will see it the flip side, you know, and then when they see a tax debt, they'll like chase that up to get it paid and pay, or, you know, whereas when I see a tax debt, I'm like, well, how are we within the confines of the law going to reduce this as much as possible, so you can put that back into your business, into your family, or into the community? Because that's what it's about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I totally agree 100 million percent. That's why I'm so excited as well for you to speak to some of those other like sovereign accountants and lawyers and stuff, just to see what's next, you know, like we've got so many people doing such amazing stuff in this country and around the world as well. Like, but every state is slightly different. That's why you've got to link up with the people.
Even that's outdated. Why?
Exactly. I know I posted something last year and it was such a trigger for me. Like one of my ex-boyfriends from when I was 14, I hadn't seen him in a million years. He's living in Bali, doing all the sovereign singing and like all this stuff. And I was like there was this thing that was about how these original Australians posted this like a new Australian anthem, and like I was like, yes, we're all one, and like all this stuff. And then this boyfriend of mine was like, what are you talking about? That's still like so small thinking. That's like one country. We're fucking global citizens. And I was like, yeah, or maybe it was because now I think like that as well. But yes, it is. Yeah. It's so fucking outdated. We are global citizens.
That kind of growth happens in stages. Like first it happens like we are all one within the family unit. We are all one within the friendship unit, within the community, then within the state, within the, you know, and it goes bigger than global. It's universal. Like you were talking about ETs before. Fucking love ETs. Like part of my shamanic training was around ETs, and when I learned about 5D and raising your vibration and like dealing and working with ET energy, it's been quite profound, because, you know, it's universal, like it's not even global. So, you know, a lot of people get scared of ETs, and personally, you only bring in at the level that you vibrate at. So all these people that are like hoo-haing over the 5G towers, I'm like, 5G, whatever, I'm 5D. Technology breaks around me because I vibrate so high. Like, I'm glad we haven't had any issues tonight. But usually, like, my phone died, my laptop died, my microwave died, my washing machine died, my TVs died, my kettles died. I've had to get new. It's all the time. Like, technology just like has a thing when I'm around it, and that's okay because I know I'm vibrating higher. So this 5G business, please. But yeah, it's universal. ETs, aliens, 5G, I'm all over it. I'm all over it.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I feel 100% the same. But I still am against 5G because of like everybody else, because I think that's why we get along so well, because we're on that same sort of vibration. It's like, oh my gosh, there's like no boundaries. You can talk about all the things that we love. It's like all the stuff. And it's so relevant right now because everybody is understanding this more and more. Like, and that's what I was saying, like about like the people that come into one of my businesses, like they're all, like the most mainstream, like the most
Yeah.
manufactured mindsets, right? Like it's not even their stuff, like it's manufactured, and they all believe this stuff. Like, some of the conversations that I have been like, with people that are like, no, I haven't spoken to anybody else about this in the whole world, like talking about aliens, talking about this, that, and the other. It's like everybody's thinking it, nobody's just talking about it. That's the stuff, and that's why it's so important for these conversations to happen, so more people can like, this just becomes the norm, and then the veil starts to shift and everybody can start to see, but the vibration's higher as well. So what we're seeing is better. And I want to ask you about this as well, because I personally, and let's go into like talking about like your other gifts as well. So I want to ask you about this. Like, one of my gifts is I'm a gateway. Like, it's like a conduit, but like crazy, right? So if anybody sleeps in the same room as me, whatever vibration they are on, it will literally open up portals within their night space, and they will go to wherever they need to go depending on the vibration that they're at. And it's like really challenging for me, so fucking challenging for people that like aren't aware of stuff, or if they are, even if they are really aware of stuff, it's like, whoa, like, and I find that a lot of people that I work with as well, as soon as they make the decision to work with me, and it'll be the same, sure, as soon as they make the decision to work with me, like I was a chick I had a meeting with yesterday, but we'd booked the session like 3 weeks beforehand. And when she'd spoken to me, all these things were like, I've been made redundant. My partner's left me. My mum's got going through like cancer. I've got my daughter. I've got my son, this, that, and the other. And there was all these issues. But as soon as she made the commitment to work with me, and she was posted like until we started working together, it was like, oh, I found a new job. Oh, this happened with my partner. Oh, my mum's this. Oh, everything started to align. And so like, for me, like, it's just that conduit energy and that gateway to give people the permission to be able to go through the doors that they need to go to, so that they can get to that next stage of their life that's going to bring them more fulfillment and joy and realignment with their soul. So what are your gifts, sister? What's your magical juju?
Ooh, okay, apart from money.
Yeah, because that is like huge. To be able to break down scarcity within somebody's soul is the most freedom that anybody could possibly have.
Yeah. So my passion is in energy, right? And everything is energy, but through just connecting with Mother Earth, connecting with my spirit guides, and just playing in those other realms and dimensions, like my abilities to read energy and shift energy is next level. So like, I did my master Reiki, which was amazing, but it was like all this sequence of events happened where I did some Muneiki, I did some, I did some other energy healing work, I did some Tesla Metamorphosis, and then I did 21 days of meditating in the light, and it was like halfway through that I had an upgrade, and it was just the most profound experience I've ever been through. I was like, I came out of that and I was like, whoa. In my younger days, I went through a quite rebellious stage where I did take drugs and party hard kind of stuff. But the highs that I have felt in the last 2 years just from my spiritual work is like a high, far higher than nothing, no chemical. I mean, plant medicine, maybe, but not, like those party drugs. No way. I've been more higher off life and off spirit. But yeah, anyway, so what
Same.
used to take, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah,
Like,
I
oh,
want everybody to experience that. And that's why you take drugs in the first place, because we're all
for that.
actually looking for, we've remembered that we were high somewhere and we had this other experience of life. And we think that the only way to get it is through drugs or alcohol or sex or shopping or eating addictions, through all that stuff. But it's actually this whole other world that has been trying to be like shut down to us, because that's where the magical is. Like, we won't be
Yeah.
sick, injured, we won't be victims in this space, but that's what's being shut down to us, because they want us to be robots, miserable, sick, dying, so that they can take our money and just, we can be numb and just be, like doing all the shit that everybody else does. It's unfulfilling and miserable, and that's what they want. They want a world of slaves and mediocre.
Yeah. Yeah, like the highs have been high, like they've been really good, but with the highs come the lows as well. But that's just been like my upgrades, and they're continuous. Like I'm having upgrades all the time. But I think my real passion in this area is reading energy and clearing energy. So like when I met one of my friends, I went to her place and I just knew straight away that someone had died there, and I was like, this needs to be cleared. And it's like there is shifts. Like I've cleared poltergeists, I've cleared and I can clear energy from people's body, from people's home, from people's like anywhere. And it's just, yeah, that's energy is really my thing. Like reading it, clearing it, moving it, shifting it, like bringing it, calling it in. So soul retrievals and things like that, calling back all the parts of you. But yeah, energy, it's just, yeah. But it's also so what I do different to most energy healers is I'm not actually doing anything. I'm just obviously the conduit. I'm the hollow bone.
Yes.
So in that, I pre-frame it with every client so they can feel the energy, they can see the energy, they can hear it, they can whatever, taste it, smell it, touch it, whatever how they want to experience the energy. So when they leave, it's like every time they have a session with me, it's like an activation for them, or it's an attunement to their own energy. So when they leave, they've got the abilities and the tools and the knowing that they can access that at any time and do all the same thing. So like, I don't profess that I can clear people's money blocks or things like that. I know there's people out there that do say that. I actually show people how to clear their own blocks.
Yeah.
I don't actually do anything.
Yeah.
But I can see it and I can pull it, and I like pull back the curtains and see what's there and how they're going to be able to best clear that. But it's just, yeah, the energy stuff. So good. And that poltergeist, one guy, like he had a washing basket full of clothes exploded. And it's like when you understand, when you understand,
It's going here, go away.
when you understand what it is, what it actually is, and like the power of
tell us what it is, Abby.
what it actually is, energy.
I want to know.
It's just like a knowing of what it is. Like the energy that's in your field is a reflection of what's inside of you. Okay, so nothing can appear. I mean, you have got energies that are outside of you as well, but we are all connected, right? So when you have an ET energy, that's a part of you. There's a part of you that's like relating to that ET energy, and that's why you're drawn to it, and that's why it's happening. Like I had a woman who was a draconian queen. So we cleared that energy because she was relating it to, and it was implanted in her by other ETs. So, we can go on a huge tangent here. So it's like every part of energy that's kind of around you in your home, or it's always a part of you. So you've just got to find that part of you that's attached to that and release it. And just know that when you get, I don't know if you've seen the spectrum of frequency, and the different levels and the different frequencies as you go through like emotions and stuff. You've got fear and anger in the middle, and you're quite neutral in the middle, and you've got like joy and oneness consciousness at the top. So
Yeah.
it's like once you get into that oneness consciousness, you understand that there are all the energies that are kind of attached to fear, sadness, anger, guilt, and all that sort of stuff. They don't really exist in that oneness consciousness spectrum. So once you get higher into those frequencies, you just like, I don't attract any of those energies into my life. Like people come into my home and they're like, whoa, this place feels so amazing. And I'm like, that's because it's high vibe in here. Like just not attracting any of that. Like it just doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in my reality. But I also can understand and respect and love how that energy will exist in other people's realities.
Yes.
So I take myself out of my reality and into theirs to understand it, so we can shift it and move it and upgrade and raise the vibration. So it's so powerful.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Can I ask you then, is there any practices that you need to do to keep in that vibration? And also, is there any energies that and then also, is it possible with you in your vibration that you're in to attract or get other energies projected to you? Or is there environments like trigger it? Or like, are you just on that vibe all the time and nothing can get through?
Oh, no. Yeah, like,
are you in
there's always going to be... Pardon?
Are you
Am I enlightened?
Because I haven't reached that level of enlightenment yet. I did for 5 years, but then I got off it. And so that's why I want to ask your experience with that.
I'm human. So I might have a day where I feel as enlightened as fuck. And then I might have another day where I'm just like so in my human and in my story that I just need to process that. And that's okay. It's like whatever state I'm in is okay, because we are human. And I feel like enlightenment is like, so it's like this thing that people are trying to get, but they don't understand they've got it always anyway. So it's like I know are you the Buddha? I'm sure there is an element of Buddha in you, and this is like where you go into oneness consciousness, because the Buddha is you are the Buddha. The Buddha shows up in your life as a reflection of who you are. So if someone's coming into your life with an energy that is maybe manipulative, or maybe it's a little bit disruptive, or it's kind of like stirring you up, is because that person is a reflection of a part of you that's showing up in your life. That person doesn't exist. Like, who was I listening to? And it really, because I love reading books, and it was like, we're all one, right? Like you're showing up in my reality right now as a reflection of me. When you leave, you are going to continue to exist in my reality through my thoughts, as a reflection of me. So like there's all this stuff around that. I don't know, you can go really into it, but I just feel like we're human. Sometimes we have good days, sometimes we have shit days. I will say, like, the shit days are few and far between. Like the resilience.
You like get up onto like more of that consciousness, that you are in far between, and they're also, when you get off, you get on a whole lot quicker. Whereas sometimes before you like this, it might take you, like, you might be stuck in something for a month, sometimes a year. Whereas now it might be like a few hours or a day, but it never goes more than 2 days.
And
unless
this is what I say to people.
Shit for like a month or something, but like that's different.
This is what I say. Like, do you have a bad day, or do you just have 5 minutes that was quite shitty, and then the rest of your day you just held on to it? Right. So it's all perspective. I feel like the resilience now, like every day I'm in my bliss. Every day there's a moment of bliss, but that doesn't mean that there's not other moments of other things. The biggest game changer, I think, has been tapping into my life force and self-pleasure, because the self-pleasure is bliss. And when you tap into that energy that you've created for yourself, you're accessing higher realms of joy and happiness and bliss. And
what do you mean by that?
What do I mean? So like So basically self-pleasure, masturbation,
Mhm.
for to turn on your life force. So it's like getting comfortable with yourself and loving yourself and nurturing yourself and stroking yourself and building the energy up. You know, it's your kundalini. And like, you know, like if you want to get really technical, the clit has over 8,000 nerve endings, and it's purely for pleasure. We were put on this planet to feel pleasure. So when you can create that for yourself and not expect it from any kind of external source, it just opens up stuff inside of you, that the confidence piece, the happiness piece, the, you know, so it's a form of meditation, really. But you know, you can go, I'm reading a book on it as well at the moment, Pussy the Reclamation. I'm not sure if you've heard of it,
No,
but
I
yeah, like,
haven't. No.
oh, it's powerful, man. If you want to like go another level, this is the level.
What was it called?
Pussy the Reclamation. Who's that from?
Amazing. No, but it's funny because I was just at a tantra course 2 weeks ago, so that's why I'm like, this is so
Mm.
interesting. And what I found was so fascinating, I know we've spoken about this before, is that like fuck, like there is so many, like the model that we have of porn at the moment as what is fulfilling and sustainable and all those things is a fucking lie. Like if everybody was taught tantra at high school, there would be like less rapes, less divorce, people would be so fucking happy, and we would literally come together in so many ways, not just one, but in so many ways, you know. And then also like there is so many different forms of orgasm for a man, for a woman, that we're just not even told about. And how like I don't know, this is like so controversial. I don't know. I don't think I can say it. It's too much. But like it's too much. It pushes my boundaries on that one. But I'm going to say it. It's super fucked up. This is stretching me. So like within the tantra world, because there is so many, and especially in my industries, like I have hairdressing salons. I've had more hairdressing salons. I used to be a hairdresser and all that sort of stuff. So it is a very like feminine and gay industry as well. And so like, and my mum was a fashion designer, so I've always, my brother and my sister are both gay, so I've always grown up, and my god brother, like it's just, it's so normal, right? It's everything. Then also learning a lot about tantra and the rise of the feminine. A lot of men are having deep-seated trauma from when they're younger, and they've had like a really synthetic feminine mother. Like I know I had a mum that was extremely feminist, but the sick kind of feminine, you know, like not divine femininity, but like the put men down, I fucking hate men, I will empower, I am the power, you know. And I think that's what's happened with a lot of men. They've actually been raised by single mothers or mothers that have gone to do a lot of work and all this sort of stuff, but it's that synthetic feminine. And because of their deep-seated trauma around men and this, like, and when they have mothers like that, can you imagine growing up in a household where their mother, they're a guy and they're a young boy, and their mother hates men? Why would they be straight? Of course they're going to be gay. Their mum's not going to like them. Like I literally had this epiphany, and I was like, whoa, fuck. Like the world that we live in, there is so much unhealed trauma out there that is literally fucking with people's brains so badly that they're creating another part. Like they're digging deep into their, like a lot of men or women are digging deep into their opposite gender, but only to mask the trauma that they haven't dealt with, or that is like underlying subconscious programming in their brain. And it was mind-blowing when I had this epiphany the other week, like at this tantra course. I was like, holy fuck, like this is crazy. And it's
I
like
totally get it. I was having a conversation with someone the other day and she was saying like, how many lesbians out there are lesbian because of their trauma, not because they're actually lesbian, but because they've got sexual trauma in their past from a family member or another. You know, I like call it controversial, but it could be just fact. I put it out there like, how many people have made their sexual preference based on their trauma, so they're like hiding or suppressing a part of them that they've never even experienced before.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah.
So huge. Yeah, I'm the same. Like, I totally get it. Like
That's not to say what they're doing is wrong. It's
no,
not to say what they're doing is
no.
wrong, but it's how like all the programming and the patterning and the trauma affects the subconscious. So we think we're making a decision consciously based on, like, you know, who we are, but really we're making those decisions based on unconscious programming.
Absolutely. And I totally agree with this 1,000,000%, because like back in the day when our mums were like, you know, the feminine rising and all that, like burn our bras, women are doing everything. Let's, like, you know, men have, and like even before that, like my grandmother's era, men have gone to war, let's all go out and work and all that sort of stuff. And I believe in women working. Like, I'm an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
you know, all that sort of stuff. But it's also, this program has been ingrained with us like so far earlier that it's just going like, we are just displaying and coming into, like, people think that they're being rebellious or they're doing their own thing, but it's not. It's like this subconscious program that's been ingrained generations ago so that this would happen in this moment in time, so that the men would be just being withdrawn. There would be the rise of the feminine, but to the point where there's not going to be enough men out there. There's so many women. Like, how many single women do you know that aren't breeding anymore? I'm one of them, but that's by choice. That aren't breeding anymore, and we're going to like not even need men anymore. It's going to be like, you know, in a chicken house where there's like these women just laying eggs, and then these like baby chickens are just like, the men ones are just being like killed. It's like, that's literally what I see. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's funny too, because when I went to Conscious Leaders Gold Coast event last Wednesday, we had men's medicine there.
Yes, you did.
And, you know, it's just, it really hit home how it's so important to balance between the men and the women, balance between, you know, energies, masculine and feminine energies in men, like accepting and noticing the masculine within yourself, accepting and noticing the feminine within yourself, and noticing where you operate from. And like, no one is better than the other. It's like that, the yin and the yang. You know, we need each other. We need each other. Like the men can't rise to be kings without the queen, you know? And in this men's medicine, at Conscious Leaders, all the men were in the middle and they were walking around and eye gazing and hugging each other, and it was really profound. And all the women were standing around them in a circle holding hands, and it was just so moving to see the men in their vulnerability connecting at a deep soul level with each other and healing. And we all just dropped to our knees and like bowed our heads, and it wasn't like a form of like, it was just a surrender and a worshipping of the men, and acknowledging where they're all at. It wasn't like bowing down to their power to be taken advantage of in any way, but it was just like this beautiful dance between the feminine and honoring the feminine, and the masculine and honoring the masculine, and honoring, like, we were honoring the feminine in the masculine, because, you know, that connection and that nurturing and that feeling is feminine qualities. So the masculine were walking around in the circle accessing their feminine, and that's where we were just like, it was like, honestly, collective healing. But yeah, it's so important. We need it. We can't have one without the other. Just
No,
I don't want a world like that.
No, absolutely. And with people wearing their trauma on their sleeve, it's like, okay, let's, like, no matter what is going on with anybody, just doing some work will just start to unlock anything. And I know that it can be really scary for people to unlock their identity as well, and get out of their own way of being that they've been for so long. But it can be scary, but it's also taking your life and your soul to the depths that it was meant to be. Because like, when you're at that stage anyway, you're always feeling that little bit of unfulfilled, unsuccess, not that full-on love for yourself or for others, the world, the environment you live in. And once you start to tap into that, like doing some work And that's why I'm like the same. I'm so happy with all the men's work that's going on at the moment. Like I was at a voice activation singing classes yesterday, and there was people that had come from all over our state to be there. And there was like quite a few men that were like from all different areas. And I was like there was a guy who's like a yoga studio in the Central Coast. I'm like, are you doing men's work there? And he's like, yes. I'm like, fuck. Thank you, brother. Thank you. And there's another guy out west. I'm like, so do you guys do men's work out there? He's like, yeah, we've got a whole community. I'm like, fuck yes. Because obviously being a woman, I don't know all of the men's work. I know the guys, men's medicine, and and that, like they're amazing, great brothers, but I don't know all of the work. And so it's happening underground, but more of it needs to come out. And just, if you're a man watching this and you're not doing men's work, find a fucking men's group. It will elevate your soul and your life so much. And that's what I found so healing about the Tantra courses as well, was learning so much about the man and being able to actually, like we went through a whole process to be able to actually drop into the masculine and imagine life throughout your whole life being a man. Like no woman would ever actually think what it's like to have your genitals hanging in between your legs outside of your body, and being able to experience growing up what that's like. And so we went through this whole process to understand the masculine and what it's like. And it was like, whoa, I just was like in awe for the men. I was like, man, you guys have dealt with so much, no wonder. It was beautiful experience for all of us.
Because my ex-husband, he's still he's not awake, he's unconscious. And I was so moved by the men's medicine. I filmed the haka and I sent it to him. I just said like, because he was born in New Zealand, so he's got some New Zealand ties. He's not Maori, but I knew it was a piece that he could relate to, and it was, I could put the fishing line out there. And I said to him, like, everything that we've been through, I don't even care. Like our divorce has been so easy. Like it's been seamless. And I just said to him, well, I mean, obviously there's been tough moments, I'm not going to lie. But I just said to him, if you ever considered, like if there was a slither of any part of you that was ever interested in men's work or that, I would buy you a ticket to go, because I know the effects that's going to have on my children. And I know the effects that that's going to have on like him and his family as well. And why wouldn't I want that for him? Why wouldn't I? So he didn't take the bite. He was not interested. Not my thing. He said, it was okay, but you still plant the seeds. So it's like, keep planting those seeds. So like I reckon we could talk for hours.
We have, oh my gosh, an hour and a half. I hadn't even looked at the time. Oh my gosh, yes. Raining in Blythe, this is what I do. I go on tangents, and with you, girl, it's like just too good. It's like such gold. Oh my gosh. Okay, so bringing it back. Far out. I was so in that. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. So absolutely. So doing the work in any way, shape or form within yourself, within your environment, your family, your business, so important. And get all up in this girl's grill. Where can people find you, Abby?
I'm on the Gold Coast. I'm socially on Facebook, and I've just like restarted my Instagram again because my coaches and mentors are like, you need to be utilizing more social media. I'm like, breaking through my own blocks on being seen. If you just at the spiritual accountant, you should find me. So Abbey Benvenue, but that last name's, it's Italian. If you just search for the spiritual accountant, I'm sure you cannot miss me, because I'm one of a kind.
That is for sure. That's why I love you. Amazing. Thank you. Was there anything else that you wanted to just touch on or anything before we go and sign out?
No, I think this has been fantastic. And I just want to like send love out to everybody watching this. If you're watching this right now, like connect to that space inside of you that feels that love.
Yeah.
It's there.
And that's why we do this, because we just want to share the love and just allow you to upgrade your soul, just like transmissions of love just coming through you, and awareness and awakening, and to just like, just to, exactly like Abby said, tune back into that love and just send you so much love. So transmissions of love out to all of you. And thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate this. And yeah, look at this woman. She's freaking amazing. Support her. And yeah, if you need support, don't hesitate to get in contact with her.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course, you're welcome. So lots of love, everybody. Peace out. Have an amazing rest of your day. And we will see you soon. Much love.